Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gridiron Headliners. I'm your host, Arush, and I'm with.
I'm Deepak.
I'm Rohit.
I'm Aditya.
So, today we're going to be breaking down our fantasy football teams. So, us four and a couple of other people are in our own fantasy league, and we had our draft yesterday. So, in this episode, we're just going to analyze all our teams, give the best pick, worst pick, and possible projections. Okay, so I'll start first with my team. So as my quarterback, I selected Russell Wilson. I selected him because, he's Russell Wilson. He carries the Seahawks in a couple games when the run game isn't working. And since, the Seahawks O-line is really bad, so the run game, even though they're a run-first team, I don't know if they'll be able to sustain the run game in games with high-quality opponents. So I think Russell Wilson will have to elevate the team as he always does. So that's why I chose him. And then for my running backs, I have Nick Chubb and Devin Singletary. I think those are both solid options, but I'm a bit worried about Nick Chubb. And then for my wide receiver core, I have Devontae Adams, Cortland Sutton, and I think those guys will be, or Cortland Sutton, I think he'll be the wide receiver one in Denver. So that's amazing for me. You'll get a lot of fantasy points. Zach Ertz is my tight end. And my flex is Stephon Diggs, who was a bit controversial, but I think he'll boom with the Buffalo Bills. And I selected the Ravens defense and Robbie Gould as my kicker. So what do you guys think was the best pick?
Arusha's team is projected to be the worst 10th, so I don't think he made any good pick.
That doesn't matter.
Those projections are wrong, dude. I'm eight.
So for Arush's team, I'd say the best pick is Nick Chubb because I think he's getting high volume, and the Browns head coach is Kevin Stefanski, right? And last year was the Vikings head coach, and Dalvin Cook popped off last year. So I mean, there is Kareem Hunt who could threaten his volume, but I feel like Nick Chubb is clearly the number one back in Cleveland, and yeah, I think Nick Chubb's the best.
Yeah, so actually, in my opinion, I think Arush's best pick is the tight end Noah Fant. You know, in the draft, I was eyeing him. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick Noah Fant, right, as my tight end, and then this guy swooped in. I think he's a very underrated tight end, and he's gonna be one of the shocking players this season. I think.
Last year, rookie season was really good.
I think he might be like another George Kittle with a boom in the second season.
Yeah, he was from Iowa too.
I think Arusha's best pick was probably Michael Gallup, because I really like Michael Gallup, especially in that offense. The only concern is if CeeDee Lamb takes away from his targets, but I think at least to start the season, I think he's like a really good flex option also. Like if Stephon Diggs struggles, Michael Gallup has the potential to be like a strong flex option and potentially a number 2 receiver. So I think to have him on your bench, that's a pretty good pick.
Okay, so for worst pick, I'd probably say Russell Wilson. It was a good pick, right? Except you took him like 3 rounds way too early. I feel like you could have picked some other guys and still gotten Wilson later. Wilson is a good pick, but you could have improved the depth and other players on your team and still gone Wilson. So
that's true. But I feel like I made a really underrated pick in the last round. I picked Alexander Madison from the Vikings. So we know that Dalvin Cook, the Vikings are working on an extension with them. But if they don't have enough money for the extension because they're paying other players like Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook will most likely hold out. So that means Madison will be the number 1 back in Minnesota. So he will get a lot of volume. So that's why I just drafted him and then kept him.
Yeah, I agree. Because if Dalvin Cook is out, then he's going to get a lot of volume. And for me, the worst pick is probably Aaron Rodgers because honestly, there's other backup. If you wanted a backup QB, there are other ones like Ben Roethlisberger who have more upside because you're not going to start your number 2. especially with Aaron Rodgers, they're going to go into run first offense with James Conner and with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon. So yeah.
My strategy with Aaron Rodgers was just like replace him with Russell Wilson's bye week, and then just trade him afterwards. So,
I feel like Adams was also a good pick because
Devontae Adams, good pick.
Yeah,
I mean,
feel like
he's Rodgers.
No. You picked Devontae Adams over DeAndre Hopkins. And
okay, first of all, the air raid offense that the Cardinals have, they have 4 wide receivers out at once.
Julio Jones.
The Texans offense was designed to give Hopkins more like volume, but the Cardinals offense spreads out the ball a lot. So what's the guarantee that DeAndre Hopkins is going to get hella targets in a PPR?
Julio Jones.
Okay, I can see Julio Jones, but just because he picked Devontae Adams doesn't make that a bad pick automatically. It's not like Devontae Adams is going to bust completely and not do good at all.
I mean, I do like Devontae Adams because in that system, he's the only one that's going to get targets. Because fantasy is mostly about opportunity and volume, right? He's going to get a lot of volume and opportunities to play. So that compared to Cortland Sutton, right? We're not really sure if Jerry Jeudy's going to take more away. That uncertainty is not really there with Devontae Adams, and that's why I think it's a good pick. But personally, I like taking running back in the first round because I think there's a big drop off between the top tier running backs and the second tier. But I do like Devontae Adams as a pick.
Also, the Packers wide receiver opted out, right? The one they signed in free agency.
Devin
so Adams is going to get even more targets now, and in a PPR league, that's pretty valuable.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think it's a good pick.
Also, with Julio Jones, Deepak, just to address your point. So what I thought was Calvin Ridley's coming back. And Calvin Ridley had a pretty good rookie season, and then I'm pretty sure he's going to evolve and develop into a good wide receiver number 2 who may steal some targets from Julio. So that's why I didn't take him. Just because of the looming threat of Calvin Ridley on the Falcons receiver core.
All right, next team. Oh my God! My team again. So, So one of the questionable picks I had to make is Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Can you go over your team first?
Okay, yeah. So QB Dak, and then running back. I had to pick Zeke. He was there. It's no brainer. Aaron Jones, I should have picked Dalvin Cook over him, but I think, I forgot Jamal Williams was a thing. So I don't know. I was just dumb. Yeah. So I picked Aaron Jones, and then Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I was looking at Chris Godwin, and he had one good season. I didn't think he could replicate it, and I have more trust in Mike Evans, so that's why I picked him. And I think that Chris Godwin is a little bit more injury prone, so that he might get injured. That's what I'm hoping. I'm not hoping for it. That's actually a big move, but but yeah, I think he's gonna get injured. Yeah, and then Keenan Allen, Keenan Allen is he's done a lot of good things for me in the past. I think the past 2 years I've taken him, and it's always paid off. So I'm gonna stick with my boy here. And Hunter Henry was an extremely bad move. It was actually a mistake. I was gonna pick Austin Hooper, but then I accidentally clicked Hunter Henry. I thought I would explain it now. So I had them both queued. And it was a bad mistake. And then I think another steal that I had was Tiwa Hilton. It was extremely good. A veteran wide receiver. Is one of Philip Rivers' only targets. It's Eric Dupont. He plays for Steelers now, right? They don't even have a good tight end. So yeah.
Wait,
and then with Marlon Mack and they got a new running back, right? So yeah. But basically, Tiwa Hilton is extremely good. He's going to be one of the major targets. Chargers defense, I think, is good because they're stacked. So I picked them up. And then Harrison Butker, one of the best kickers in the game. And for my bench, I have Raheem the Dream. Okay, Raheem the Dream Mostert. I think that was a no-brainer. He's extremely good. He's one of the main running backs for the Niners, so you have to pick him. And then Julian Edelman is a complete steal. Picked in the ninth round. He's literally the seventh in his position last year. So how did he drop that far? I don't know, but I'm glad to have picked him up, and hopefully I can either trade him or I can trade Tiwa Hilton to better my tight end position. So TJ Hawkinson is a backup tight end because I know that Hunter Henry is not going to work, and I think TJ Hawkinson might have a blow up year, and I'm hoping that. And then Henry Ruggs is a big steal, because he has a potential to pop off on the rookie year. I'm really betting on that. So yeah, I picked him in the 11th round. I think it's extremely worth it. And then Marlon Mack, I seen another running back, so I said, why not? And then I got Matthew Stafford to back up. Who is it? Who did I want to back up? Matthew Stafford. Yeah, back up there. And then my last pick, I have Larry Fitzgerald, the veteran. You can never go wrong with him. Honestly, I had the last pick, and I thought I could use it. So.
I mean, I'll go first. So I think the worst pick. Or are we going worst pick first or best pick first?
Let's go best pick first.
Yeah,
best pick first?
First.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Harrison, but no. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I think.
Okay, let me go.
No, let me go. Okay. I think Zeke and Dak are two pretty good picks for where you got them. I mean, Zeke is obvious, but I think Dak Prescott is capable of being the number 3 quarterback because of the weapons he has. Yeah.
Just one thing to add about Dak and Zeke. So first, Dak will have monster numbers. He always has monster numbers, like 4,000. He had 4,900 yards passing last season. So he's probably going to replicate that because he has even more weapons now. But you have to consider that the head coach is Mike McCarthy, who isn't really known for establishing the run game in his offenses. So I think Zeke, he might have more receptions out of the backfield, but you won't have as many rushing yards. So I think that will actually make him a pretty viable fantasy option at running back.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Zeke and Dak are easily your best picks. I mean, in PPR, Zeke is a lock for huge touches, and we've seen what he's done the past few years. So I feel like he's one of the safest picks. He's going to do well for you. And to pair him with Dak was actually pretty smart because not only is Dak a good fantasy quarterback, but you got 2 Cowboys. So if Dak passes to Zeke for a touchdown, you get extra points for that. So that's pretty smart move.
Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, so we're going worst pick now.
Yeah,
I think it's Tiwa Hilton. Honestly,
the worst pick is Tiwa Hilton
because you took him ahead of Calvin Ridley, Cooper Kupp,
and Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry was an accident.
Can you let him talk?
Okay, Hunter. Okay, obviously Hunter Henry was a mistake. You said it was an accident, right? I'm just saying. I think one of your because if you took T.Y. Hilton the 7th round, I think that's pretty good. But you took him ahead of Calvin Ridley, Cooper Kupp, Cortland Sutton, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, and DJ Chark and Stephon Diggs, and to be honest, and Mark Andrews.
Oh, I took him ahead of DJ Chark?
Yeah, and
Jesus.
And you took him ahead of Mark Andrews.
So, and you took him ahead of Cortland Sutton and Michael Gallup.
And Darren Waller.
Understandable.
You took
DJ Chark was still on the board?
Yeah. I took him.
Oh my god.
Okay, I feel like your worst pick was Aaron Jones because last year I owned Aaron Jones and most of his points came from touchdowns. He didn't really have that volume that most running backs have. He was splitting carries with Jamal Williams, and now the Packers drafted A.J. Dillon, so I'm pretty sure they're going to go with the committee of those 3, so you're not going to get the volume for Aaron Jones. And I don't know if he can replicate the amount of touchdowns he had last year. And I think you took him ahead of guys like Chris Carson, Joe Mixon, and some other guys. So there are a lot better picks that you could have made there.
I would say Deepak, your worst pick is Tiwa Hilton, and that's tied with Hunter Henry. So T.Y. Hilton, I had him on a fantasy team last year. He was very injury prone. He missed a lot of the season last year, and not to mention now the Colts are looking like a run first team. They have such a dominant O line, led by like Quentin Nelson, and they drafted Jonathan Taylor, who's a workhorse running back from Wisconsin, and they have Marlon Mack. So I think they're gonna split the carries with Taylor and Marlon Mack, create like a really good running back tandem. So I think that Phillip Rivers won't really throw the ball around that much. So I don't know if T.Y. Hilton will get the targets he had last year with like Jacoby Brissett. He had some like for like the limited time he played. So yeah, I don't think T.Y. Hilton was a great pick. And Hunter Henry, I mean, you should have. Yeah, I think you could have done. You could have like picked Noah Fant ahead because I didn't pick Noah Fant before you selected Hunter Henry. I picked Noah Fant after you selected Hunter Henry. I think so. You should have waited and then seen which other tight ends were on the board and then picked there.
I mean, I think T.Y. Hilton is a good player, but I think you just reached for him a little bit. But like one thing you could have done is instead of take T.Y. Hilton, you take Mark Andrews and you would move Julian Edelman to your flex position. And then I think you would have had like a pretty stacked team.
Or Aaron Jones to his flex position. I mean, there's like some touchdowns he can give.
Yeah, true.
All right, so who's next?
Okay, I think that's me. So at quarterback, I have Tom Brady. The reason I drafted him is because of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. You know, he has many targets in Tampa Bay, so I think he's going to do good. And also because I have Chris Godwin on my team, so I could stack the two. And then at my running back, I have Alvin Kamara, which is a pretty no-brainer pick. And then my second running back is Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's the Chiefs starter. I feel like running backs in Andy Reid's system do pretty good in terms of fantasy when there's like not a committee. So it is a risky pick, but what can I do? And then wide receiver, Chris Godwin, like I said. And my second wide receiver was Robert Woods. He got a lot of, I think he led the Rams last year in targets. So yeah, and then my tight end was Darren Waller, who, you know, had a breakout season last year. So hope he continues that. And then my flex is Calvin Ridley, coming off a strong rookie year. I think in the Falcons offense, he's going to get many targets. And then for defense and kicker, I have the Saints defense, which, you know, isn't the best, but it was the best available. And then for kicker, it doesn't really matter. I just went with the best available.
All right. So your best pick definitely was Alvin Kamara. I mean, it was a no-brainer pick. And then Alvin Kamara obviously has very high volume in Saints offense, both rushing and receiving. And Sean Payton is going to figure out multiple ways to get him the ball so he can, move the Saints forward and carry or get some of the work off of Drew Brees.
I think the best pick and probably like a steal was Calvin Ridley, because in the Falcons offense, because Austin Hooper left, Mohamed Sanu left last year, over 250 plus targets were left for this year. So I think Calvin Ridley is gonna at least get over 110, 120 targets with Julio Jones. So I think with increased volume, he's gonna. And he was also pretty consistent last year. Like he was not like he wasn't like Amari Cooper, who was kind of volatile. He didn't have like 0 reception games and then have like 10 reception games. I think he's a steal at the flex position, in my opinion.
Deepak, do you have any? So
what's up? So I think his best pick is definitely Darren Waller. That's the guy that I'm trying to trade for desperately right now. So yeah, straight up Darren Waller. So his worst pick is DeAndre sorry, not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You picked him like very, very early, like second round. What were you thinking? Yeah, so extremely early for a rookie. So 17th overall. That's insane. But yeah.
Yeah, I felt like he reached for Edwards-Helaire a bit.
I think it's obviously your riskiest pick because he could go out and have like a breakout season because of PPR. He could have like 50 receptions and like rush for 900 yards. But on the flip side, he could also have like he could not even start like the first couple of weeks because of lack of OTAs and training camp, and especially because I think in the Chiefs system you have to have running backs who can protect the quarterback, and if Clyde can't pick up like those blitzes and stuff, especially since they invested so much in Mahomes, Andy Reid might not be comfortable starting him, at least in the early part of the season. So, yeah, I think it's your riskiest pick, but it's not a bad pick because I think he has the most upside of anyone on your team.
Yeah,
I feel like
I would agree.
For me, it was between Josh Jacobs and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I felt like in the Chiefs offense, as long as you have I think there was a stat going around that starting caliber running backs in Andy Reid's and under Patrick Mahomes average 1 or 2 touchdowns a game, and they get force fed targets and carries. So it is a risky pick. It could completely flop, but I feel like the upside's there.
Yeah, I agree.
In my opinion, I think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, obviously he has the most upside, as Chitari said, because of the Damian Williams opting out. So that's probably why he's going to get more volume in terms of reception and carries. But I think your worst pick was honestly Robert Woods, because the Rams are a run-first team with they're a one-back team, which they have Cam Akers, so he's probably going to get a lot of carries this season because he's replacing Todd Gurley. And Cooper Kupp is going to be back as well. And Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp have pretty good connection. And Kupp might take some receptions off of Robert Woods. And also, Jared Goff is not really the best passer, so I don't think he'll be able to pass it to Robert Woods enough so that he gets a lot of fantasy points.
Just to go off that, I feel like the reason I picked Robert Woods over Cooper Kupp was because last year the Rams O-line suddenly shot to the bottom of the league. And because of that, they had to get more tight ends onto the field. And so they ran 2 wide receiver sets with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. And the second they did that, Cooper Kupp's production dropped, and Robert Woods started leading the team in targets. And they didn't really have any notable additions to their O-line this year. So I feel like Robert Woods will still lead the team in targets, and so for that reason, I took him over Cooper Kupp.
Okay, that sounds fair. All right, Deepak, would you like to?
No, actually, it's Chitari, right? Yeah,
Chitari. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So my team, I have Patrick Mahomes starting because I thought he was a steal in the 4th round. Then my running back 1 is Derrick Henry. Then I have Miles Sanders as my running back 2. My 2 starting wide receivers are DJ Moore and Terry McLaurin because I think both of them have the highest upside. My tight end, I took Hayden Hurst in the 12th round. He's not the greatest, but I had to settle for the best remaining. And at the flex position, I have DJ Chark because I think he could actually be he has receiver 2 upside, especially since in that offense they only have Leonard Fournette and him. My defense, I initially drafted the Broncos, but I have a waiver out right now for the Eagles, and I'm pretty sure I'll start the Eagles week 1 because they're going against the Redskins.
The Washington football team.
Oh, shoot, my bad. The Washington football team. My kicker is who's it? Oh, Matt Gay. I don't know why I picked him, honestly.
Wait, it doesn't matter.
And
Yeah.
kickers don't really matter, so.
Yeah.
Oh wait, actually, because last year I think he had like the most volume. And if he improves his accuracy, I think he could be a pretty good kicker, but it doesn't really matter. My bench, I started off with 3 running backs: David Montgomery, Kareem Hunt, and J.K. Dobbins. And all 3 of them could potentially start at the flex. I think one of my steals was Deontay Johnson, because with Big Ben coming back, I think him and Juju Smith-Schuster are going to have bounce-back years. And Deontay Johnson didn't have a bad season last year when he had pretty trash QBs. So I think he has a lot of upside. And then I took Preston Williams, CeeDee Lamb, and Anthony Miller as my backup receivers.
Chitari, just to start off, I think your best pick was it was J.K. Dobbins, because he was a steal from where you got him, and also the Ravens have the highest rushing yards per team and per game and in the entire season. They're the number 1 rushing team last year, and I expect that to continue this trend. And they have Lamar, their main rusher, even though he's a quarterback. Mark Ingram, who's their second rusher, and then J.K. Dobbins will be the third. So J.K. Dobbins will have even though on most teams it seems that J.K. Dobbins have a productive season, but since he's on the Ravens, he could be like a potential flex. I think that's a ceiling flex.
I feel like your best pick was clearly Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes is going pretty high in mock drafts right now, and for him to last till the 4th round, that's a no-brainer pick. His upside is through the roof, and there's nothing much else you can say on that. And I feel like your worst pick was J.K. Dobbins, because I feel like the Ravens coach said that they're committed on using a 4 running back committee with J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, Mark Ingram, and some other guys. So I feel like the volume isn't there, first of all, and second of all, because there's no training camp, OTAs, and all that, he might not even see much action because of guys like Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards. But at the same time, you don't really need him to do much because he's on your bench. But I feel like the rest of your picks were solid enough so that J.K. Dobbins is the worst pick.
I mean, yeah, the only reason I picked J.K. Dobbins is because if Mark Ingram gets injured and other players get injured and he gets an opportunity, then I think he may emerge this season. But I don't plan on starting him, especially because I have Kareem Hunt and David Montgomery, who are gonna have a lot of touches too.
Deepak?
What?
This guy.
Oh my god! Wait, I'll just add another pick. I think.
Yeah, wait, sure. I think a good pick was Derrick Henry. As I think I think his projection is 14. I think that's way too low. I think he's gonna have way more points. Fantasy points, because I think he's another Marshawn Lynch, so he's gonna be extremely good in the field. I mean, he got an extension, so he's not holding out, so he's gonna play, and then he's gonna do he's gonna do really well. And then another, I think the bad pick in this is probably Anthony. Wait, no, actually no. David Montgomery. Why do you have? David Montgomery.
I think David Montgomery was one of his most solid picks.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
David Montgomery was picked in the 7th round. I think he could have found Raheem the Dream was available, and you picked David Montgomery. So it's something that I wouldn't personally do, and I wouldn't advise anyone to do the same as well. So yeah.
No, I mean,
wasn't Montgomery top 12 in touches?
Yeah, that's exactly why.
How is that? I don't know how that's about.
He had 270 touches last year with a pretty bad offensive line, and they didn't add anyone new, to compete with him at the running back position. And Tariq Cohen is never a high volume player, so even if he improves his efficiency a little bit, then he's a 1,000-yard rusher, and he's a guy on my bench. So, but
Chitari, I think another good pick you made was DJ Moore. He's super underrated, and I think he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Carolina, and Teddy's gonna throw him the ball a lot. He's gonna get a lot of volume there.
Yeah. I mean, I think I took a lot of low-key players.
Mm-hmm. You did.
In general, that are not
except for Mahomes.
Except for him, and probably Derrick Henry. But like people like Miles Sanders, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, even Hayden Hurst, I think because of their situations on their respective teams, they could be like starters, like really good starters. So
yeah, I think the worst pick on your team was probably CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he's in a pretty stacked wide receiver core. I mean, with Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. So I think he's going to be the wide receiver number 3. And then he's not going to have as much volume as Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper. And also because of the shorter off season with no OTAs and mini camps, he's not going to be the best receiver on their team. He's not going to be he has a lot of upside though, as he could steal some targets from Michael Gallup or maybe Amari Cooper, but I think that there's a lot of downside to him with the fact because he's a rookie, and then B, he's in a really stacked wide receiver core.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to take Justin Jefferson, but Adi took him in the pick before, and I picked CeeDee Lamb because if he turns out good, that's great. But I'm never gonna start him because I still have Deontay Johnson, Preston Williams above him, and I have 3 wide receivers already on my starting lineup.
Yeah, it's a low risk, high reward pick.
Mm-hmm. But I think another good pick you made. I think you said that you want the Eagles defense over the Denver defense, but I think the Denver defense is really solid. Obviously you have Von Miller, what's his name? Not Nick Chubb. Bradley Chubb on your defensive line. And also, don't forget the Broncos secondary is pretty good. They have Justin Simmons, who's an amazing free safety. So I think that the Denver defense will be really good, and also they have Vic Fangio as their head coach, who is a very good defense. He's a very talented defensive head coach. Or defensive coordinator and head coach. So I think that the Broncos defense might pop off this season.
I mean, I think for my team, I think I'm probably going to stream the defense position because I'll just go week to week looking at matchups because I think the Broncos against the Titans are a good running offense and they have the potential to with AJ Brown to pop off too. But I think the Redskins are against the Eagles defense. Yeah, they're in trouble. So
all right. So this is all we have reviewed on our fantasy teams. Join us next time on Gridiron Headliners. It's not a game, it's a rich thing.